trying to figure out what kind of train wreck this is going to be. It's like a stack of Baby Bell cheeses.
Yeah, but is it like 3 or 4 of them?
3.
Okay.
3. It's a 3 minimum.
Holy shit. Oh, I broke the algorithm. Anyways.
Starting professional.
All of us are in a group, and
Yeah.
we're here to talk about nerd shit, so that can only mean one thing. What are we about to do?
I don't know.
We're about to get fucking Warhammered, is what we're
what we're
about
gonna
to do.
Yeah.
So this is Warhammered. That's Big Jim. That's Beer Jim. I'm Jazz, and we have a special guest, our favorite leprechaun from the north.
Hello.
Our good friend TJ is with us today, who plays nothing, reads nothing, knows absolutely nothing about the gaming world. So we are bringing him like a freshman at senior prom. Like it's just gonna.
Again, just happy to be along.
No, I just saw Jim take a sip of the beer that I brought, which is going to be a
Like,
sour.
yeah, like,
and he was like,
ooh.
oh, fuck that. No. Why do we do this? This is the worst thing ever. But
I can't
hear Kibby.
That's because he's not talking.
It's on.
He didn't say anything.
It sounds like he's very far in the distance.
Okay, on the side of your sender, there is a volume button. Try it now.
How about
Hello.
yes.
A little higher.
How about now?
That's better.
Okay.
now? Holy shit.
Sorry.
You know what, Jim? Shut the fuck up.
It's not your fault.
So
Yes.
we
I feel like no matter what happens at the end of the night,
well, this
it's
is
gonna
the
be my
producer's fault. This is the first
Yeah.
time we've gone for a 4 mic setup. So
Yeah.
and we put approximately a solid 30 seconds into making sure that this setup was the way it was
Yeah, it wasn't
supposed to
bad.
be.
That's a
So
generous 30.
Well, since you're going to have some guests later on this summer, this is a good test fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's true.
As long as you don't
I got
serve
no-
this shit to
I got-
anybody, we'll be fine.
I got no problem being
all
the
right,
guinea
we're
pig,
done.
man.
We're already talking shit about the beer.
We're not talking
Yeah.
shit about the beer because this might be like this is a great representation of this beer. Plus, it's your beer.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't your beer so I could really tell you how I feel.
Tell me
about
exactly how
this.
you feel about it. No. that's
anyways, this is Warhammered, the podcast, where we
Which
give
one?
a
This is our last one.
War. It's fucking more war and less hammered in a minute, but yeah. Wave top view.
wave top view of the gaming world. It's a lot of Warhammer shit, but we talked about some other stuff too.
Yeah, we have fun.
And we also talk about getting hammered. And,
Yeah.
and so if you want to know where the name came from, this is how we do it. Because this is brought to you by the Second Pitch Beer Company of San Antonio, Texas,
Yeah.
and BattlePub Games. Because we
Still
are
doesn't have any intro.
We still have no intro. We still have no.
Well, you really haven't started the beer corner.
Yeah,
yet.
no, we haven't started just yet.
But
Yeah,
still,
we're not
you're still
there
not
yet.
getting intro.
Yeah.
the show still doesn't have an intro, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Well, we have an intro, and it literally just says, "Well, let's see what kind of fucking shit show this train wreck's gonna
And
be."
then my awkward laughing
Yeah.
coming in on the side.
So that's about as accurate as you're getting. But you people keep showing up, so we're just gonna keep fucking giving
Shockingly
you
enough.
whatever this is. So yeah, we talk about games, we talk about drinks, and we talk about the hijinks that go on. So that's where we came up with the games, drinks, and hijinks. And yeah, we're all fucking here. So how's everybody been?
Been a rough week for me.
Yeah, you've been on a ride
Yeah,
the
I've been
last
on a
couple
ride,
days,
yeah,
but
Yeah, my wife is doing good though.
I'm so glad to hear. We won't get into all the details, but
yeah. No need to.
your-
She was
your-
in the hospital for a little
Your
bit.
wife was having a deal,
Yeah,
and
and-
being the tough bitch that she is, she's on the back end and
she's-
doing great. So
yeah,
we're super
So
happy
is this
to
gonna
hear
be like
it,
a
buddy.
one-off thing? Like, it was just a thing, or is it gonna?
It's
be...
supposedly just a one-off thing. Yeah, they figured it out, and she's on medication now and everything, and so
So
we should be good. Like,
our audience doesn't know her, but I've gotten to know her, and she's tough like woodpecker lips.
Yeah,
like
she
it doesn't surprise me that she's on the back end of this thing and doing great. So.
Yeah.
But we're very, very happy to hear that she's
doing great.
well.
Yeah,
so,
but it's been a fucking week, man.
yeah.
It's good.
Yeah,
So-
I called you on a Tuesday, being like, "This is fucking hard. Everything's hard."
You called me on a Tuesday. I was like, "This week sucks." I'm like, "It's Tuesday."
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
Just all blended in
that's a
together.
good way to segue.
Yeah.
yeah,
Speaking of things that are hard,
yeah. So
Yes.
so as Big Jim put it, we cover things on a wave top level, except for one subject, and it's the only subject we can promise you has any sort of accuracy, and that is Jim's Beer Corner.
Yay.
Ba-da-da-da, or whatever the
And
little
so I
jingle
am-
that you did was. But wait, there
There
you go.
There it
Yeah.
is.
What do we have this week?
It's called Palm Queen. It's a pomegranate sour. So it's a sour beer. And this is actually it's the first sour beer we've ever done. And if you are into sour beers, it's really good. If you don't like sour beers,
Fuck, it's good.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
I mean, I can't say shit. I willingly drink PBR.
That's an awfully
Yeah.
big can of sour beer.
of sour beer. Well, I brought it for an awfully big
So
guy.
I bought. I actually.
Fair.
So I'm ahead of the curve on this. It came out literally as of this recording. It came out yesterday.
yeah, it came out yesterday.
I went last night to your brew house
Yeah.
and bought 2 crowlers of this.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a growler. Like it's
Yeah, it's 64 ounces.
Yeah,
So it's
so-
4 pints.
because it came out and we really wanted to try it. I actually love sour beers.
Right.
And this is something that Jim actually said you'd never do. That you'd
I-
never do a sour.
I always said I'd never do a sour. And the reason was because sour beers require you using not just Saccharomyces, which is the normal brewer strain of yeast, but you have to use other bacteria, Lactobacillus, Pediococcus, Brettanomyces, that are incredibly dangerous for a regular brew house. Those bacteria can thrive in a lot of weird areas and can sour other beers that you don't want soured. So they'll automatically take down the pH of those. And so you would basically, there's been situations where breweries have made beer and then they start making a sour beer. They made one sour beer and it infects their entire brewery. And then they're just like, well, guess we make sours now, guys.
There's a couple here in
Like, that's
Texas.
it. Yeah, there's a
a
couple
couple
that-
here in Texas that literally try to do the whole like our mash pit's open and whatever the outside environment impacts and da 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 da,
Yeah.
and it soured their original mash and now they're like everything we make is a sour.
Yeah, because you can't get rid of it. So
No, you can't get rid of it. You can't steam it out or.
no, it's these bacteria are incredibly. They hide in every nook and cranny, and they will replicate incredibly quickly.
It's like the Wuhan of beers.
Yeah,
Well, I
What?
mean, you could kill it with fire, but then you'd kind of be out of a job.
yeah, right. You can burn down the place. Like,
So for somebody who doesn't like sours or
Yeah.
doesn't do like you're taking your business life in your hands making. This
no, I'm not with this one.
shit. Okay. So
This beer, normally when you make sours, that's what you have to do. You have to do all this kind of stuff. There has recently been a GMO version of Saccharomyces that produces lactic acid that they just made, and that's what we used. Okay. So it's a normal strain of yeast that is being able to lower the pH of the beer to make a sour beer without having being afraid of infecting your entire brew house.
Oh, okay.
Because Saccharomyces is fairly easy to kill. We use caustics and acids to do it, but it can be done, and that's what we're doing. So we don't have to worry about souring our entire brew
Yeah.
house.
So that's kind of the explanation.
Yeah.
Right, this is a pomegranate. It's kind of a fruit-based beer,
Mm-hmm.
but you're using a specific genetically engineered
Yeah.
method of creating the sour that doesn't have the risk factor of
The risk factors of a traditional sour.
of the other stuff. So this is one of those better living through science situations where he could do it without risking all the core line stuff and all of their stuff
Exactly.
changing and everything,
Yeah. And worrying
because this
about,
can be
like, what kind of-
controlled.
This is rough.
And it's rough for people who don't like sours.
Now
So I like sour candy, so all I equate this to is like 2 or 3 month old Sour Patch Kids. And
Exactly.
I'm happy about it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. If you get it into your brain that it's a sour Patch Kid or something like
Yeah.
that, then you're just like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm in. You know?
But yeah, I could see for you, but you're not a beer guy anyways. So all of a
Yeah.
sudden, when you take these hard departures off of even traditional beer into like, fuck, this isn't even like beer. It's like this whole other thing.
Yeah, it's this whole weird thing.
I could see how that
The
could
consistency
be.
is a lot different too. It seems.
Yeah, we use a lot more wheat in this, so it's going to have a better mouthfeel to it.
Yeah.
A little bit more chewy. But yeah, so then we used pomegranate juice in here, and it has just a great, like...
Are you happy with it?
I'm very happy with it.
Yeah.
It's tasting the way it's supposed to.
Okay.
So if you like sour beers, it's a good sour beer.
Now, this was also a kind of push of part of your staff, and that's why it was released yesterday. So yesterday
Yes.
was International Women's Day.
Yeah, and we do most of our. It kind of worked out with our brewery. We employ more women than we do men at our brewery, and it's kind of worked out that way. It wasn't like a conscious decision for us, and so we were able to do. We call it the Woos beer, the Women of Second Pitch. They come together and they brew a beer that they want to make. So this is the one that they wanted to make. So we were like, "Good for you, do it." Yeah, they want it. Yeah, I don't know why I'm looking at Beer Jim because he just hates this thing. Like, I'm gonna look.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
look at
it's
Jack
tough
now.
because I wish it was like just somebody else's beer that I could be like, what the fuck is this shit?
No, but you can say that anyways. He'll take it
Yeah.
and run with
It's
it.
well, I
don't
mean,
care what
granted,
you
you
say.
gotta like this beer. I just are there harsher ones?
Yeah, yeah. There's much more harsher ones than this one. This is like a mild one.
Yeah,
How
this
do they
isn't-
come? Like, how, I guess my question, without going down too many, like, how do they decide that this was a way they were going to go? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It started way back when in Belgium. Belgium was the ones that did it. So there's several breweries that Cantillon in Belgium, Lindemans, the Duchess of Bourgogne is another one. That's what they've done for hundreds of years. They've done these sour beers.
And you need to keep in mind that like sours are a thing that can be done via that way. You'll see them by other names too. That technically, when you dig into, if you like something sour or more tart and stuff like that, they still qualify as that. Like Gosés technically qualify as a
Lambics.
sour beer. Lambics, all this stuff. They typically have a fruit that is involved with them. So you'll end up with like raspberry lambics, peach lambics, like all of
Cherry's
these.
very popular,
Cherry, all that kind of stuff, and they're more sour beers. It is part of the brewing process, but you'll see them under other names. Not a lot of people will advertise them as they're just sours. You'll see those other names: lambic, gosé, all that kind of stuff. They are technically all sours.
They're all in the range of it. But we just call this more of an American sour.
But yeah,
which is its
so
own kind of brand now.
The
Sorry,
American sour is typically more on that
harsher pH,
sour
yeah.
candy, the hard pH. Like it's truly a sour, not something that just has that fruity berry sourness that you can get from a dark cherry or raspberry kind of. Oh, it's a
Yeah.
little tart, but it's not sour.
Yeah.
American sours just lean into the you're going to feel it in the back of the jaw kind of piece.
Yeah. Very much like Warheads, Sour Patch Kids, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And you're not wrong. I'm not going to lie. Everybody I've ever talked to about sours and stuff like that, they are either
Yeah, it's either you're pro or
you're
against.
either for it or you're just like, nope, I have
Nope,
no
I
fucking
will-
interest at all.
Yeah.
I
And
mean, it's got booze in it, so.
yep, there
And then you
go.
have this guy.
Yeah.
Then you have
TJ,
that.
which
Yeah.
is just like,
I'm not
get you
sorry.
drunk, motherfucker.
Yeah. But
Well-
yeah, sours are definitely a
No, I get it.
love it or hate it. And there is nobody that's, I've never met anybody that's just like,
Meh.
whatever.
Yeah,
They're
I
either
think it's-
about it or they're not.
Yeah, so.
You even saw it at his brew house last night because I went and there were people that like, they ordered it, they tried it, and they drank like a third of it and were like,
Nope.
hey, could I get anything other than this? And
No,
it
it's- I
was
mean, that's
just
the
like
thing, though. At
a,
least
Yeah,
when you try it, just be
we
like-
know what it is, and we know that it is. It's like that whole thing of like Vegemite or Marmite.
Sure.
You know, it's like you either love it or you hate it kind of thing, and it's the same thing that
All
with
right,
sour
so
beers.
you've tried Moxie? Okay, I fucking love Moxie.
You're
It's-
allowed to be wrong. This shit is disgusting.
Okay, it's soda. It's a
Okay.
soda, but it's a Maine soda. It's a really New England soda. It's kind of like sarsaparilla. If you don't like it,
Yeah,
it's
you're
not
gonna
like
hate it.
oh, and you can't mix it with booze. You can't do
No.
anything. You either love it or
or
that's
you hate it. Yeah,
And you hate it. I
And it's the
fucking
same
love
thing with sour beers, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of things in this world that are the
Yeah.
exact same thing. And you know, as if people were like, "I hate sour beers," it's like,
it. Yeah,
that's okay.
you can actually get it down here. Too.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's Specs has it. But I order it from.
who cares?
But anyway,
Well, what's that weird?
You and your
what-
shit water doesn't need
So
to be
much
polluting my
hostility.
state.
I know.
What is that weird liquor that's from like Chicago that is like super fucking weird?
You're talking about Malort.
Malort, yes. I've
Yeah,
never
and
had
there's
that.
there's no reason to drink that ever.
What is
Really?
it?
No.
But what does it taste like?
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to put on wool socks
Yeah,
and those boots.
yeah.
Go to the gym and do a heavy lift session until you have a pool in the bottom of your boot.
And then drink it.
Drink it.
Pour that into one of those old Dixie cups they used to have next to water fountains that have the wax in them. Pour it into that until the pH of your shoe has eaten the wax off the inside of that cup. And then put that in a shot glass and shoot it while you think about the thing that you hate the most. And that's roughly what Malort tastes
What
like.
is it though? Like
Trash.
So I believe Malort it's a malt liquor, right? Because it's not a full blown. It's
I'm
not a full-blown
pretty sure
spirit.
it's actually filtered from the sweat of raccoon assholes.
So,
like, I
you're
think
New
that's what
Englander.
it comes
You-
from.
I've taken a
heard
shot
of
of
this.
Yukon
I've heard of
Jack,
this
right?
Yeah.
this thing. Like,
So
I'm-
imagine if Yukon Jack was made like after a soccer riot in Calcutta.
Yeah, it's
And this is like a Chicago thing.
Yeah, it's like a Great Lakes thing.
Malort,
Well, I mean, when you're on the streets of Chirac, you got to
Malort-
do something.
Yeah.
Malort
Well, you
tastes
can
like
fucking fire it up and throw it at burning bottles. at
Malort
people.
tastes like the
Instead of like a
anger that you
Molotov, it would
have for
burn, like,
being
more
from
like
Chicago.
like a napalm.
Napalm. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you could get it off. Yeah.
Next beer corner is going to be booze corner. Bring Malort.
Yeah. So
Now I'm in. I want to know.
I want to try.
it's-
I've never had it. I've never had it either.
Yeah.
So,
I've heard this though.
you know,
Count yourself
you know,
lucky.
Yeah,
you know when
right?
you burp and you throw up a little bit in the back of your mouth.
No, but okay.
That's the
It's
stuff.
like that, but
I feel like
distilled.
you're lying right
yeah.
now.
No, like I've
Acid
done it, but
reflux.
it's not like
Like
it's not
drinking
like my
acid
normal.
reflux.
It's not my normal
right,
burp
but you've had it
session.
happen.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's that, but you've distilled it and then added a little bit of self-hatred.
okay. I'm in.
Yeah.
That's
So-
more than a
This-
little of self-hatred.
It's probably why they fucking all kill each other up there. I'm sorry. if
It
anybody's
makes you
surprised.
the taste of Malort makes you understand Chicago violence. Like you get it. Like it tastes
Like, I
like
just had 3 shots of Malort.
right.
And I don't want to budge
it
someone.
tastes like organized crime and inferiority. Like that's where that liquor
Your
comes from.
nickname
really
is
be
the
from
Second
Philly,
City.
but
Yeah.
It's really awful.
All right, well, we're definitely trying this
It's
shit.
really, really
I'm gonna
fucking
bring it in
bad.
next
Maybe
time.
drizzly
From what I
or-
understand,
next
there's only
time.
one place in San Antonio that actually carries it.
Where's that?
So that's where
I
we're
don't
going
know. It was so
tomorrow morning.
unimportant that I didn't log the
some
information.
fucking bunker somewhere, but we need to find out.
I'm finding it. This is my goal for next week.
Yeah.
We're doing
I don't-
Malort. We're drinking Malort all
Oh
night.
I'm
God,
glad
it's
I won't
so
be here
What the
next
fuck is
week.
this shit?
Yeah. Just we're all gonna be like,
so bad.
That's awesome.
Awful.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's a sour beer. Some people love it. Some people hate it. If you don't, I don't care.
There you go.
Yeah.
So there is Jim's beer corner. I'm not totally sure we explained that beer, but fuck it,
No.
there it is.
Yeah, I
Can
think
you do
Uh,
a horn for when you do that?
I want to.
We need like a jingle.
We need a jingle. I need to figure it out. 'cause
he
Jazz
definitely
won't do
needs
it.
like a thing. You need
Yeah.
and not off our phone. Like it needs to be official.
No,
Yeah.
we have buttons. We can put it
Yeah.
on a button, and you push the button, and
No,
it'll play
we're
the
just going
noise.
to give him an actual horn.
We could actually put the button on that little thing, and you
Yeah,
can hit the
I
button, and it would
just
make
do
the
like the-
fucking jingle. Right,
Yeah,
right.
like that little-
Slide whistle.
The slide
Like,
whistle,
Yeah, that's what it needs to
100%.
be. So
Thank God I
today,
took those recorder classes in fucking middle school.
hot cross buns, baby. Here it goes.
What about my taxes? Shut up and play hot cross buns.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
So today we're gonna do something a little different. So we have TJ on the show. TJ does not read, play, anything. He has nothing to do with this nerd culture that this whole this whole show
Been hitting the Malort.
is about.
that Malort. That
Why he's
Malort
upset
sour
about,
beer.
that's why he's
strong.
upset about shoes. It's all about the Malort.
He's taking shots of Malort, chasing it with sour beer.
I'm not gonna lie.
Bro.
I pre-gamed a little bit before this
Did you?
show.
Good
Oh
for
yeah.
you.
So we're gonna have him on, and we're going to kind of prep it, and because there's some people that are watching the show that have nothing to do with this hobby or the lore or anything. So we figured bringing a guest on that is ignorant as some of our listeners,
Makes sense.
let them ask some questions, and then we will give a hammered answer
I'm in. Yeah.
to those questions. That way, we can make it as clear as mud for everybody what this is all about.
Yeah. We can also just really show off our ignorance of.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, so who is this guy? We have no idea.
We have no
We
fucking
have no idea.
Yeah,
Next
I
I
question.
think he did.
Yeah, but let's,
I think
let's
he
be real
did,
about it.
did.
And
I'm
I
not
don't
quite
know
sure
enough
how to
even
pronounce his
ask
fucking
about
name
who
either.
this guy is.
As I say, I will pull on to every bit of my straight white male confidence, so he makes you seem like you believe what I'm saying.
There you go.
Like, just-
You mean privilege?
yeah, privilege. Yeah, exactly. Where I just sit there and just be like, "This is what it is." Like, apparently it is.
Apparently it is. So we've talked about it on the show. Do you listen to the show
I do.
at all? Okay.
You do?
How
Well,
much of
that-
it are you
that's
confused
almost
about?
Like cheating.
All
Yeah.
of it.
Okay. What is the number one thing we talk about that you are currently like, you keep saying this and I don't know what this means?
Well, so my favorite thing about this whole universe that you guys are in is it is, from what I gather, is centered around death, destruction, filth, and greed, and I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
Yeah,
that's
okay. Yep, you're right.
incredible.
I fucking- I
So
love it.
far, you're 100%
Honestly,
on
the
track.
greed part is so far below. They would rather do the rest of the stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah,
feel like greed
greed
comes
is
last.
the
'Cause
thing.
they're like,
Yeah.
Because
oh,
I don't
these
know what
people
you
are over here
spend money
doing
on.
this shit?
Everything's
Not
miserable.
on my fucking watch.
Okay, I have a question. What is the even currency of the Imperium? They don't even tell you.
I'm assuming these
Credits.
guys
I'm gonna
get
go with
fucking
blood.
paid.
They just say credits.
There's a script.
It's just credits.
Skulls
They
is
just say
just
credits.
You don't. They don't even have like,
Skulls
a
is actually
monetary-
probably a pretty safe bet
You
for
could do
assuming the
something with the
value of
skull.
something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the more skulls on it, the more important.
It's
it
like a
is.
weird like barter system with like, but also like, what can you do for me? Therefore, I'll do for you.
No,
kind
so
of
the
thing.
rest
A lot of
of
it's
my
like
life
I'll
being
just
a
won't.
tradesman.
Just don't shoot
Basically,
me.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fair.
yeah.
Okay, so you kind of have an idea of what the universe, at least the Warhammer universe, is all about.
Yes.
What have we mentioned on the show so far that you've been like, you guys still haven't explained what the fuck this is?
All of it?
Okay, fair.
That's fair. All right.
I'm gonna need you to pare that down just a little bit more though, so we have
Yeah.
something to go on.
So, the last time I was down here in Texas, you sent me home with the first book.
Of the Horus Heresy.
Correct.
Yes.
Horus Rising.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my thing is I'm about halfway through it because work for me has been crazy, and I don't understand what's going on between the fake emperor and the real emperor, and I have
that
no
was
fucking
really
idea what's going on.
confusing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so-
So, in my defense, not knowing anything
That
about it, I'm
was
like,
a lot
I
of
kind
people
of
were-
understand, like, we're gonna kill
and
this
it was
imposter.
confusing because there's more that happens after that. So let's see if we can clarify some of that. So the first book in the first line in the first
I was
book
there
of
the
the
day
Horus
Horus
is
slew the emperor.
right. So our we have our producer plays the Sons of Horus, so she's very pro Horus.
Yeah, she's a big fan.
And now we can't go spoilers, and I know you want to so bad, but we can't. Okay, we can't yet.
Oh my god, how far are you in the?
I have 2 hours left, so I'm almost there.
Oh, next
I'm
week.
almost there.
He's got to be farther than I am.
Oh, yeah, he's much farther than
I'm
that.
almost there. Oh yeah, no,
you're
I'm
much
post.
farther.
I'm post translation. I'm post.
Yeah.
I'm post the century in the desert.
So what we are
Like,
talking
I'm-
about, for people who don't know,
is
there is
the very first book, the very first line of the very first book of with this book, and which is part 1 and part 2, will be a 67 novel series to cover this series. The very first line is, I was there the day the Horus slew the emperor." Now, in that
that over.
instance, he is not talking about the emperor of mankind.
He's talking about the imposter that they found.
Right.
From
On
what
this
I gathered
single
from
world.
the book.
on
Yeah.
this
Yes.
single world. And the reason what
He's the
he's
emperor of
talking
one
about
world.
is it comes back to pre the Imperium of Man, Earth, before it was called Terra, figured out space travel, and we put a bunch of people on fucking space boats, and we sent them out into the space universe.
Space pirates.
the galaxy. No, more is like not so much like space pirates, more of like
Colonizers.
Colonizers, like
Yeah.
people like it was like the New World
With
like
almost with the
back in
kind
the
of like,
1700s,
yeah.
like the
I feel like
1400s.
at that point, because I'm going to assume that I'm sure religion isn't really a thing, but they would be more like missionaries, wouldn't they? Spreading
kind
the
of
good
missionaries,
word
but
of-
also it's just like, hey, we're going on this boat and the Earth is so packed in with all these people.
Right.
Like, hey, if you go on this boat and you can go to this brand new world and you can start your own life.
It
Just like-
was
just like-
more- it
just like
was
what they
more-
sold
I mean,
for people
shit,
at the
son,
It was
Yeah.
more Manifest Destiny in early America than it was missionary. It was
Yeah.
more,
Okay.
we're crowded and need more space. So just go take more space. So we
Yeah.
put people on boats and we sent them out there. So they go out, and for a while, we were colonizing new planets and the human race was expanding and we were taking over more space. And then we hit this era
So
called
basically what Elon Musk wants to do right now.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then we
But
hit this,
not in our solar system, like in a galactic.
on the galactic
Okay.
sense. So because we figured out how to travel farther distances and people could still get there alive and da 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 da.
Faster than light travel, yada yada.
So, but what you end up with is what's also known as the Age of Strife, and then the Age of Darkness and da 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 da. But during the Age of Strife, we lost contact with everybody. So it's essentially we sent everybody out there and then we lost contact.
Okay.
Well, when you lose contact, that means centralized government no longer works. So people become self-governing. So you have these new. So some people just were like, "Nope, we are from Terra, we're from Earth. We are going to hold on to what they said, and I'm just going to reinforce. We will make contact again." And for lack of a better way of saying it, they essentially kept the faith of
Okay.
we're going to do it the way Earth said we should do it because eventually this will get fixed. Now, we're talking about thousands of years that some places kept
Well, yeah.
the faith.
Well, because you explained to me that the 40K universe is the 40,000th year of.
It's
Yeah.
what's known as M41. So it's the 41st
41st
millennium.
millennium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we start to go to seed the universe, it's like M7.
Okay.
Okay. So
yeah.
we lose contact.
And then your book that you're reading is set in M30.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's the year 30,000. So you're talking about several, 10s, 20s, millennia of gap. So some of these planets,
21,000 years, a long fucking time.
yeah. So some of these planets set up their own government, and these people declared themselves emperors because they took over systems.
Okay.
So it wasn't just a planet; it was like multiple planets, and so but one dude was like, "I'm the biggest dick here," so they get to be that thing. So when the Imperium went on what is called the Grand Crusade or the Great Crusade, it was to reunify the Imperium of Man. So all of these planets that we lost contact with, we were going to go find them all again and bring everybody back together
into compliance.
In compliance.
into what's known as what he just said, compliance.
Which, if that doesn't sound some fascist shit, I don't know what does.
Oh, the Imperium is fascist as shit.
So in that,
So-
I go back to like what George Carlin said when George Carlin had the whole thing about religion. Do you believe in God? No. Dead.
Right.
Do you believe
So-
in God? Yes. Do you
Kind of the
believe in
way-
God,
so-
my God? No.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
compliance was quite literally, you're either going to do it the Imperial way, or we just kill everybody here.
Yeah, they basically park a ginormous warship above your planet and be like, "We're back."
They
So I
definitely
don't
give
see
you
that
a
as
chance.
a problem.
Yeah.
I see that as a, I'll win a little
Yeah,
bit
and
of
there is
stray,
no-
and now you got to pay the price.
Now you
Yeah,
get a
now you come
chance.
back. No, you get a
like they're
bad
going to
chance.
show up and they're going to send people down and be like, "Hey, this is how the Imperium does things,
We're from
And-
Terra. We're back,
and you're from Terra, like you started with us, so
and we're back.
we're going to bring you back into the fold. How do you feel about that?"
Well, I would imagine anybody with, at that point, 21,000 years of doing it their own way is going to
Sure.
be like, go fuck yourself.
Now, a lot of planets didn't. A lot of planets were like, "Holy crap, we're glad you found us." Like, absolutely.
They've been dealing with all kinds of
Yeah.
Xenos infestations. But the other thing the Empire does too is basically it's like not a lot's really going to change. Some dudes are going to come down. They're going to do some stuff. We're going to take attacks. You're going to have to raise armies. But other than that, shit really. And whoever's running your country, running your world, they're going to be a governor instead of emperor or king. But you're still going to be in charge.
But for the most
Okay.
part, your culture's not going to change.
We don't
The
give a
way
shit
you do
about that.
business
Yeah, they
isn't
don't
going to
care.
change or whatever. But you're gonna
You
gonna
get a
pay
tithe.
tax.
You get a tithe.
And the tithe or the tax was mostly in personnel.
yeah.
It's not really a money thing. It was but we need bodies, and we need bodies because we're going to take those bodies and they're going to go to the next planet, and we're going to see whether or not they're
Well, you
going
got
to
to
jam.
replenish the
But then,
ranks.
but then
Right.
you also have to realize that a lot of these planets that were left by themselves, it wasn't a good situation because we're not the only ones out there.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of aliens. There's a bunch of everything that wants to kill us, and so these guys are fighting on their own. And all of a sudden, you have this like ship comes up above you with super soldiers, be like, no, we got you. We have your back now, and you're just like, fucking cool. Let's do this.
It's almost the protection money thing.
yeah,
Like in
racket.
organized crime areas where they're like,
Okay.
"Hey, as long as you're paying, we're going to make sure nobody else fucks with you. We're going to be the only ones that are allowed to fuck with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you only have to worry about us.
So New
we will
York in
take
the
care
late
of everybody
1800s.
else." Sure.
Yeah.
So in that instance, they come across a system where there is this guy that's propped himself up as emperor. And it's how it's run at this point for like thousands of years. And the Sons of Horus, who is the first found, so on and so forth. Which is weird because it's the first found, but the 16th Legion. Like it's a
Yeah,
it's
I
a
never made it.
weird.
So that's another
thing.
thing that confuses me because you and I had the conversation leaving here one night about all the legions and
So
all that
there's
different
there's
shit.
20 legions, 2 of which have been scrubbed from history.
Yeah.
The reason that Horus was first found, but was given the 16th Legion, is that's the legion that was designed for him,
Okay.
Based
So-
on his DNA.
based on his DNA and his what they knew he would be capable of. He got the 16th Legion. So even though he was found first, because the Emperor loses all of his sons, and then part of the crusade is to find his sons again, and he finds Horus first.
Okay.
So he's the first found, but the 16th Legion. But the first Legion is actually the Dark Angels and belongs to the Lion. Like, so you can't go. They didn't number the legions based on how they found the sons.
Yeah. That had nothing.
The legions were pre-done and then handed to the Primarchs, their sons,
Okay.
as they were found. And the 16th Legion was designed for Horus, even though they found him first. So you
Yeah, it's
can't
a little
really do
weird.
that, but
Think of it more of like Roman legions. You know, even though there's like
it's just a unit designator.
Yeah, it's just a
it's not
unit
a
designation.
there. It's not in a and it's not in a number of priority. It's just a
So it's like we got around to it. This is your legion, and it's just he was the one.
As
that
they were
He
designing
was the
him-
one that they found first, but that doesn't matter because the legion they designed for him was
the 16th that was
16th, yeah.
conceptualized. So it's not a ranking structure. It's just they had to wear numbers.
Yeah,
So
they had to call him something.
that's what it was. So they find him. The Emperor finds Horus first. And for 30 years, it was just Horus and the Emperor. Those were the only two.
Buddy copping it up.
Just chilling. Yeah, straight buddy cop movie, right? And they're out bringing things into compliance.
okay.
And he is the first among the sons. He's the greatest. He's as good as it gets until you get into the Sanguinius conversation, which is
Yeah.
arguably the favorite. But Horus was the one that most embodied what the Emperor was trying to do.
Okay.
So in that story that you're reading with the whole I was there the day Horus slew the Emperor. They come across this system, and at this point, Horus has brought more systems into compliance, brought them back into the fold than anybody else. And they come across this system that is very strong, very independent, could very much, had been left alone, would have continued to thrive. But that's not what an empire does. You don't pass by and go like, you're kind of killing it, son. So we're just going to let you do your thing.
I'm gonna give you a high five and a slap on the ass as I walk
It's
by.
not how that fucking works, right? Like it's so. Most of the time, the Primarchs don't ever get involved with compliance. They don't need to. It's such a small job to bring a planet back into line that you don't need these demigods to go handle it. So anytime that a Primarch has to get involved to go solve it, it's a bigger problem.
Yeah, shit went sideways.
So most of the time they can send like a captain from the Space Marines, and that captain can go bring a planet back into alignment. It's that simple.
Okay.
So in the book you're reading, this is one of those. This population it was thriving so much that they
it was
were
enough to warrant
they were
to bring
legitimately a
Horus into the-
challenge
Yeah.
to where
Okay,
now this Primarch Horus had to get involved to go solve this thing. So he goes down and he solves it, and he kills this emperor. And the reason that's such a big turning point in the story is there are other paintings and poems and songs and stuff that are written about accomplishments, but this one's not included. And it starts to turn into the whole, the fuck, I was awesome and you didn't tell me I was awesome, and he gets all daddy issued about it. That's why that line is so important.
Okay.
Is that it's the people that saw it declare how important it is, but the Empire doesn't. And a lot of that is, I don't know what you want me to do. Give you a gold star for doing your fucking job? And so there's there's not a lot of.
You want a
It's also the-
participation trophy? Like what the fuck?
I
It's
literally
also just
made you
optics.
to go do this,
Yeah.
and now you've done that, and you want me to
Congratulations,
tell
did your
you that
job.
you
Now,
did your fucking job.
Fuck
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
In the immortal words of Don Draper, that's what the money's for.
Yeah, right. And this dude like gets the best of everything and is the first and gets named War Master. It gets prioritized and it literally is elevated above all of his brothers who were all created equal. And it's like, look, you were only now second to me. And this dude's still butthurt because this one fucking battle he didn't get his fucking dick stroked over it. And that's what starts the whole Civil War.
Definitely daddy issues.
It's straight up just daddy issues.
Yep.
Well, to be fair, Emperor's not the greatest dad ever, too.
You know,
It's
you're
just
not
also-
wrough.
He's kind of a
And all of his
terrible
sons have
father.
issues. Even your boy fucking has daddy issues.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit.
I feel like that's just
He
aggressively.
probably feels he doesn't
deep-seated
get
daddy
used
issues.
enough, but he's like,
Well, he was only made for one thing.
I know. He
So,
would prefer
and that's
that
the thing.
everybody would get out of line here and there, not all at once.
Yeah.
That was a problem. That's why we have
Right.
what we have. Maybe once
Just
here
once
and
in a
there,
while,
every
yeah.
maybe 100 years. And
That's the other thing you have to understand is that Horus and all of his brothers were made for particular reasons.
Yeah.
They were all designed to solve particular problems. So Horus was literally designed to be the second to the emperor. He was meant to be this charismatic
Yeah, leader.
leader and was designed to be imperfect because his imperfection allowed those that follow him to relate. Because if you make something perfect, you can't relate to it. You can't. You don't understand what they are. Horus was made to be imperfect,
Right.
but that imperfection is what led to his downfall.
Okay.
Yeah, it allowed chaos to get into him.
So that's why that line that I was there the day Horus slew the emperor is so important.
It's also a little foreshadowing.
It's a little foreshadowing. And we've talked about the fact that there is a fight between Horus and the emperor, and Horus dies and the emperor,
Kind of.
I guess, wins.
Well,
Like,
we're about to find out. So
but,
the other thing we're talking about
anyways,
is like,
on that story, Big Jim, do you think I missed anything? Anything that's important that would make the universe more understandable to somebody like TJ?
No, what they've done though is they've taken everything that's ever happened to us. You know, this all existed, and the Earth, you know, like you said, went. Everybody's out there. and then now we're in the 30th millennium and the 40th millennium, depending on where you're reading or whatever. And you've got all it, but because of everything that's happened prior to, it's a very depressing universe.
Yeah.
And like it says, in the far future, there's only war. It is a dark place.
In the grim dark future.
Yeah, there's only war.
There is only
and that's
war.
all there is. And the other thing, too, it's like technology's breaking down. So, yeah, we have space travel, but the ships aren't, they're not slick, Star Trek friggin' things. They're kind of these big battleships in space. The technology's not great. I mean,
No. And everything's about the show.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing you have to understand about the universe.
So to me, what Jim just said, that equates to me as like Chronicles of Riddick. Not aggressively advanced technology,
so
but they can still get the
what are
job
they called
done.
in the Riddick universe?
Necromongers.
The necromongers.
Necromongers, yeah.
Okay, so that
Some
whole
of it,
those ridiculous ships that they have
Yes.
that are more cathedral than they are
Absolutely,
That
good
is
example.
100%.
That is the
Okay.
Imperium of Man.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
that story took a lot from what this is.
That whole concept
Absolutely.
of I don't need to build a fortress on your planet when I literally flew a fortress to
Yeah.
your planet. So yeah, in this universe, the Imperium is flying cathedrals around. And I don't mean that in the allegorical sense. I mean quite literally.
It looks like
They look like castles or fortresses or cathedrals
Built on
have
a
had
ship.
engines
Okay.
attached to them and they're flying them through
Some
space.
of them are. I mean, like
Some of them
the Rock is.
The Rock is most of the Blood Angel stuff is like incredibly like take Notre Dame, like the Notre Dame we know, make it the size of Manhattan, and then make it be able to travel through space.
Yeah, and then put it on a barge.
Like that's the kind of and the whole concept is so that when we show up, it's a my God, the
Yeah,
power
it's a
that they
come
just
to Jesus moment for anybody.
Yeah.
that
it's
sees
all
it.
just an
Yeah.
exhibition of power.
So
Yeah.
like back to Chronicles of Riddick, it's they see what happens and they bow.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the same idea.
Yeah.
You don't.
Okay.
That's what putting a plan into compliance is. Like you do an incredible show of force. You know, these giant godlike creatures come down all in lockstep that are twice as tall as you, and they're like, "Hey, you wanna hang out or you want to
I mean,
fight?"
the
And then
Chronicles of,
you're just gonna sit there and be
Yeah,
like,
well,
I think
everybody's
it's,
gonna be like,
and the Chronicles of Riddick
we can hang
thing,
out.
we can hang out.
that comparison is actually fantastic because there's going to be a lot of our people that have seen that and never been a part of this universe. And the Chronicles of Riddick thing, with that whole the Necromundas moving through on that crusade that they're on of you're
trying
gonna,
to find the underverse and
but you're gonna come to faith. Like it's
yeah,
it
it is what it is.
planets have two options: you either come to faith or
you
you
die.
get destroyed.
yeah.
It's exactly the same thing.
It's
Okay.
It's a lot of like stick and carrot kind of
and
stuff.
and
Yeah.
so but that show that they do, the insane armor, the exhibition of power, and the fact that the one that leads them is the most powerful, that's very much how the Imperium works. It
Okay.
is the greatest warrior is always in charge. If you want to get promoted, it is not time and rank. It is very much you've got to be the most out
Well,
of
same with Chronicles of Riddick.
out
You
of-
keep what you kill.
out of 10,000 badasses, you've got to be the most badass of
Okay.
badasses to even go up a single rank. Not you're in charge. It's just, oh, well, now you get to be a sergeant. Because the 1,000 motherfuckers that you've been partying with, they're all some of the most lethal sons of bitches on the planet.
Okay.
You're just a little bit more lethal.
Yeah, but then also with Chronicles of Riddick, those guys are still men. Space Marines are not men.
Well, yeah, because the
Yeah.
only one that's not technically a man is the
Is the leader, but like even Space Marines, they're 7.5 foot, 8 foot tall, genetically modified humans.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
That
2.5.
can do-
In the books, they're 2.5 meters,
Yeah,
which
Just
a
like
meter's
7
3.3 feet. So that's 6.6 feet.
just 8.5 feet.
So 8.5 feet. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
just like
Jim
eight-
if he was tall.
yeah,
I'm not tall.
I'm already terrified.
yeah. No, I'm like they're a horrifying thing to walk in.
Fucking
There's-
pecs are the size of my head.
Well,
good
and that's
pecs.
the thing, right? Is that like
good
even
pecs.
with a space marine, and you're talking
Yeah.
about a space marine out of armor. is
Yeah.
supposed to be one of those intimidating things you've ever seen.
Then you got a Primarch on top of that, and they're all built differently too. And like he was saying, that's the other thing to kind of go into. So every Primarch does a different thing. You've got a special ops guy, like Korax, like they kind of do kind of special operations.
Yeah, and they're
stuff. You got
designed
You got a
for
guy
it.
who builds stuff. You got a guy who can lay siege to stuff.
Well, yeah, you're
You
not
got
going to build a guy to do psyops.
A
the same way
cybernetic.
You're going to build a guy to do.
You got a
grunt work.
cybernetics
Yeah.
guy ish.
Right. So you have it's exactly what he's saying. They're all designed for specific things.
Yeah.
You have the guy that's the perfect strategist. You have the guy that is the psyop guy.
Or the logistician.
You have the logistician. You have the strategist. You have the leader who literally is just designed to inspire men. Which
You've got the emo guy.
But that's Horus.
Actually,
Horus
got a couple
is
of
the,
emo
I
guys.
was
Yeah,
gonna say,
a lot
I'll be
of
the,
emo
I'll be
guys.
the emo guy. I don't
There's a couple of emo
Charisma,
guys.
Yeah, a lot of
I don't even know
dashboard
what-
professional fans.
You have.
Hey, how dare you?
I'm just saying.
Are you screaming infidelity, sir?
Oh.
infidelity. Jesus.
I was gonna say he's
God,
more of a
that's a-
hands down.
TJ's thinking about his first makeout session right now.
Curse is more like Morrissey.
No,
fan,
I was
think.
older.
He
Yeah.
thought it was-
Morrissey, yeah.
He
yeah.
thought it was a
Morrissey.
goth chick, but it turned out to be a fat chick in a hoodie.
That
that
will
like the
happen.
same thing
that
nowadays?
will happen.
But yeah, but then you have the makers, the ones that are designed to craft new weapons.
Oh, that sounds fun.
But there's a split actually between the ones that are designed to craft siege weapons and the ones that are designed to craft like carry weapons.
Well, it's like when I watched you last time I was here play Necromunda.
That's a totally different animal.
So I understand that, but
Yeah.
it's like going to that genre of weapon. Our producer was playing with a dude that had a fucking skill saw on a 4-foot chain.
yeah,
They
so
do
And I was like,
Necromunda's
that's gangster. That's the kind of
Necromunda's
shit I want to go to my
wild.
shop
So-
and build in real
now
life.
Necromunda, and I'm glad you're bringing all this up because it's all in the same universe. That's all
Yeah.
the 40K universe. So Necromunda is when you're dealing with the underbelly of that 40K world.
Okay.
So we're talking about the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
So like 1 in a billion get to be Space Marines.
Okay.
And you'll have that 1 in a billion Space Marines. If they make an entire legion, they all answer to one dude who was designed by the Emperor.
And that's the Primarch.
That's so Primarch is in charge of a legion, and then the Primarchs answer to no one but their daddy, who's the,
The
Emperor.
Emperor. Yeah.
So,
So they're all.
And even
so
autonomous
what
then-
makes
themselves.
Horus different with the rank of War Master?
It was a rank
First
that
among
that
equals.
the
Literally,
Thing.
at that point, the Emperor, who is the most powerful being in the galaxy, and by being I mean mortal being, and mortal is even a rough word because he's a
in
perpetual.
the mortal plane.
In the physical universe that we know, he's the most powerful being there is.
Okay.
There's the immaterial, which is the warp, the hell. It's heaven and hell.
Yeah.
It's everything that's beyond the material plane. He is as strong as it gets.
Okay.
He made 20 sons. Those are the Primarchs, and they're more powerful than it. They're demigods. So if the Emperor is God, they are the Hercules,
Archangels.
Yeah.
archangels, whatever. There's any number of other
Bring
fantasies that we
into
could get
good
into that.
old-fashioned
that-
Catholicism.
yeah.
Well, I
For
mean,
you.
I don't believe in any of that shit, but I have read the Bible.
The Bible.
Because even God knew that you didn't
Well, at the
fight
same time-
intolerance with fucking.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, right? So you
Passion.
can go
Yeah.
if the Emperor is Odin, Horus is Thor.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
level of.
I mean, that's with all mythologies and stuff.
You can
Yeah.
pick any mythology, you're gonna have that breakout, right? But Horus was chosen by the Emperor to be risen above even his peers, so
Okay.
he becomes that. But the Necromunda, what you're getting is the underbelly. That's the we don't
So
give a
it's
fuck
all of
what's
us.
going on at the galactic level. This is on my square block. I just need to worry about whether or not I'm gonna fucking survive.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in
How am I eating tomorrow?
so Necromunda gets into the micro level. If you're dealing with the legions and everything at their macro level.
Yeah.
On the planet Necromunda, those gangs that are running around trying to just make sure they get food and a little bit of credits, they don't give a fuck what's going on as far as the galactic
Well,
conquering
yeah, the only
is
reason I brought it up is
concerned.
because you were talking about the weapons maker, and I'm like, dude, a skill saw that's always on a 4-foot chain?
Sure.
I want to build that in real life in my shop and see
But
if it works.
when we're talking about Primarchs as a weapons maker, we're talking about weapons that can literally like crack the skin of the earth. Like it's a
sounds
different
way more fun.
scale. Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
So-
it's a
For our Marvel fans out there, if we're talking about something that say Vulcan would make or the hammer he even carries,
Yeah.
you're talking about Mjolnir in the hands of Thor,
Okay.
as opposed to me with a skill saw. Like that's
Yeah.
that's the difference in power we're talking about here.
It's just all power levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
And those guys. So that's the whole Space Marine thing. There's our military units, naval units, which is space navy stuff, and then you've got army units. So you've got infantry, which make the bulk of the these armies, these compliance crusades. They use conventional forces as well.
Okay.
So it's not just Space Marines, but in the 30K universe, it's a lot of the combat is Space Marine heavy because they're broken up into legions and there's plenty of them. But they still have infantry units and armory units and there's tanks and there's aircraft and there's all kinds of shit. So they have all that stuff as well because they're fighting, space elves and orcs and.
What's wild is everything he just brought up, the tanks and the aircraft and all the stuff that compared to what we have now are just beyond powerful.
Yeah.
They are considered like consumable. Like they're
not sleek though. They're not. They're
no.
Yeah. Everything is about function.
It's very Tonka style.
Yeah.
It's very just
big, kind of gonky. Nothing's aerodynamic.
Well, I don't see an issue with that. Like as long as it gets the job done, it gives a shit what it looks
so
like.
in this universe, right? You have things like the Lehman Russ tank, right? So in our current timeline, the most effective and powerful main battle line tank that you can get is the M1. It's the Abrams. That's as good as it gets. Whatever iteration we're at now on the M1.
A3 Tusker 3.
There you go.
Yeah. Duh.
Because I'm a tanker.
He literally drove them.
Yeah. No,
So
yeah.
I run on the top.
he gets mad when I say that. But
Fucking tank. But anyway, yes.
anyways, he got to wear the cool strappy boots.
I didn't wear the
rest of
fucking
us didn't
strappy
wear.
boots.
Ooh.
I don't know. There's a strap on your boots right now.
These are different boots.
Is that actually a
It's
thing?
because once you start wearing the strappy boots,
Yeah,
you
so
never
your
stop
shoelaces don't
wearing the
burn?
strappy boots.
So you're what?
Your shoelaces don't burn and melt. So you
What
can
are
get your boots off.
shoelaces?
So literally,
know
the
that.
reason that tankers are allowed to wear the strap,
So you
the
don't get
strap
stuck to the bottom of
combat
the tank?
boots,
Huh?
is the way it was explained to me was, if a fire happens, the deck of your tank will heat up to where your soles will melt to the tank.
And if
So
you
now
got
you're stuck,
shoelaces,
and if you have
can't get
shoelaces,
out.
you have to untie the boot, or you can pop the strap and just
Straps.
pull your foot out of the boot and get out. So unless you were literally tank qualified, you cannot wear the strappy boots,
That's fancy.
and it's all
I wore
application.
jungle boots.
But then it
That's
becomes a
fucking gay.
point of pride
Yes.
essentially for tankers
People
to
used
be
to
able to
get
wear
like in
tanker
Europe, like if
boots
you
and
serve in
badass
Germany,
can't.
you'd get them made, and you'd look like you're fucking in the Wehrmacht because they'd be like this high, and they'd have straps, and you knew the guys, and you're like, okay,
Well, even when we went to the
relax
desert,
there, fucking Heinz Gedern.
even when we went to the, but even when we went to the deserts, all
Yeah.
the tankers had the strap boots, and
that's so stupid.
you'd run into some guy. Like I was in the psyop world, and these guys would show up in tanker boots, and it's like, you better fucking show me where you're driving a tank, or you're gonna take those fucking boots
things
off.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. Like if part of the Cav, or if you went and you did the Tail of the Dragon out in Korea and you got the belt buckle, and like there are things where you qualify and you can change the uniform, and if you didn't, then fuck off. Like I don't care that you could go down to the local army surplus and buy them. You don't rate them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Spurs.
if you're
belts.
Cav, like the Stetson, like there's things that you can do if you rate them.
But you
don't.
should wear those things in like a social setting where you're doing that stuff.
It's straight.
Guys wanted to wear that stuff. Now I was like, hey, if we're gonna get Stetsons, I want to wear in a combat though. Like
Yeah.
everybody's wearing in a combat because if I can't wear in a combat, it's gay as hell. Every place else because this isn't a horse; it's a fucking tank.
Right.
Yep.
So I got a strong feeling about that fucking Stetson, and I
Oh, with the cute little like gold fucking tassels
and I'm a
on it.
tanker man, and I was in cav units. Like
But
no,
look, I get it. Like, if you can qualify for the parade ready stuff, cool. But if it's just garrison stuff, just put the fucking uniform on. You
know.
don't need to look special.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, just do your thing.
know.
But
I wasn't-
everybody's special.
But the
That's
thing
the
is,
world we live in.
but the reason I bring that up is that if you look at the stats on what was considered to essentially be a consumable tank, if you lost it, who cares? Like the Lehman Russ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes the M1 look like a joke.
And,
like
and the
Yeah.
Lehman Russ
the
looks,
level of power,
the
was
way they
just
look, they look like
Yeah. It was just stupid.
So it'd be
World
like a
War
50
I
cal versus like a 155
tanks with
millimeter
turrets
howitzer.
everywhere and shit.
It's like
They're
a 50
ridiculous
cal
looking.
versus that 22 your dad taught you to shoot on.
Yeah, so they're super powerful, multiple guns, multiple turrets. Crews are like 10 or 15. Bane blades, I don't know how big a Bane blade crew is, but they're like, you got like 20 dudes rocking around.
Bane blades are like tiny little block parties. Like Bane Blades compared to Lehman Russes are. That's like saying like the Gilligan's Island boat is the same thing to a destroyer.
So, like-
Bane Blades are crazy.
So like a 50
Yeah.
cal on a Zodiac versus a whole, you know.
So I don't know how
servo out of a
familiar you
fucking
are with
destroyer.
current naval combat, but it would be like comparing a Zodiac versus
Like the
the
USS
new
Texas?
the Z level new destroyers.
Okay.
Yeah, the stealth destroyers. Bane Blades are crazy.
Yeah, they're
like
stupid.
I'm talking. Lehman Russ is just that's the deployable. We got a bajillion.
Yeah, you
of them.
break it, whatever,
And
we're
you'll
good.
see hundreds and hundreds and thousands of these tanks just rolling
Yeah,
down.
there's combat situations where they deployed 10,000 Lehman Russes.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Just
we
shocking
don't
all
even
the shit out
own
of
that
it.
many M1s.
They don't even
Like,
care if they ever. I mean, they don't. They don't. Pick
And if
them
they don't
up
come
again.
back,
They don't
who
even
cares?
count them.
We'll
They're
just
just
make
like,
more.
all right, we have some more.
Yeah. Like they were quite literally just the equivalent to giving you like, here's your M16. That's
Okay.
the equivalent
And
to a Lehman
that's
Russ.
combat, and especially in the 41st millennium.
Yeah.
They run these massive crusades where they're trying to limit, free whole sections of space or whatever. Nobody's really ever paying attention to it. Like nobody on Earth. They're like, oh yeah, how's the friggin' Sabbath World's crusade going? Yeah, it's going okay. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah,
Our
we've been
producer's
talking.
giving me hand signals. I think I'm supposed to steal third. I don't really know what the hand signals I'm getting
Calm
right
down
now.
there,
are, but-
Meatloaf.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I think
So-
it's a drag month.
But I'm glad you're bringing some of this stuff up because maybe we haven't explained the scale right
Of what this world
this world is
yeah.
dealing with.
Well, and I have no problem owning up to my ignorance. Like, I know nothing about
Right,
it.
but
we
we have a
don't-
lot of people that are, I think, are entertained by what we say, but don't necessarily understand the scale of what we're dealing with.
And
it's-
I've never been the person to knock what you guys do. I've always seen it as interesting. Like, I understand the level of commitment it takes to sit there at home and put together your armies
Well, the
and paint
game
'em
stuff. Yes,
and
yeah,
play
that
the
I don't
game
get
stuff
into.
is-
and know
Someday,
the lore
shit.
the
It's
way
almost a different
and
thing.
know
Someday,
the lore
Big
the way
Jim.
you guys do is just.
well,
It would be the same thing as you and I sitting down and me talking to you about welding.
right.
Right.
You guys are into
And
that
everything
shit.
has the
Or
subject
beer
matter
for me, like
expertise,
me
and
sitting
then
down with beer
Exactly.
people
but
and
our
talking about that.
But the funny thing is about our hobby on a couple of levels, whether it's the other game systems we talk about, or Warhammer or whatever.
Well, I feel like it's
is-
aggressively relatable to anybody that's passionate about anything.
Yeah.
It is, but
Yeah.
it's also it operates in scale. So like Big Jim is big into the lore,
Yeah.
but he doesn't play. I'm big into the lore and I play. Same with Beer Jim. Like we love the lore and we play the game. So it starts turning into you have to be passionate about the lore and then passionate about the game. Now I have a lot of people that play the game have never read the fluff.
Oh, they have no idea. It's
They
which is weird
never
to me
read the
because
lore.
it's
Which
like-
is, yeah, that's always been a weird thing. I'm like the way I've always described it is 40 or Warhammer you can enjoy in three ways. You can enjoy by the lore, you can enjoy by the gameplay, or you can also enjoy by an artistic standpoint.
Okay.
Of like, hey, I really like making models and painting these.
Yeah, so there's
beautiful
definitely-
fucking
If I'm
There's
ever
the
going to
story
use this
that
thing, I'm
I
just going
have
to put
for
it
the
up on the
model
thing, and that's
makers.
cool
That's
because they're
cool,
cool.
yeah.
Those things are. Well, we don't have any.
I think the respect
This-
I
this
have for the
looks-
model makers comes from I used to build like the Revell model cars when I was a kid
Oh
with
yeah,
my father.
yeah.
Like the level 3s and shit where you're sitting there and you're painting spark plugs.
Yeah.
Right.
But to
and-
me it's still it's a car. It's not a 2.5-inch tall model that you guys are
Right, but and that's when you have to take that 10,000 foot view of it is a miniaturized version of something I'm passionate about.
Yes.
And so for me, the lore is what got me into Warhammer. It was not the
Me too,
gameplay that
yeah.
got me into the game.
Well, and I think that's why you sent me home with the first book.
Right. It was well, for that it was we had talked about the other types of books you've read, the fact that you like sci-fi, but you also like some of the even just the modern warfare level books and stuff, the stories that come with that. And it's like,
Yeah.
look, this is a blending of those two. The guys that write this, they do the homework. They're basing all of this on warfare that we already know. The legions are based on a different period of history, and that's how they built the legions.
Well, in more than one episode, you've brought up how Dan Abnett,
Yeah.
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 how well
He's the
he
man.
writes all
Yeah.
of this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
And-
Yeah,
there's
just a
proof
really
I
good
listen
run.
to your show.
You do indeed.
Good job. Look at you.
And
gold
so
star.
and that's the thing is that you can be into the lore, you can be into the hobby, you can be into both, or you can just be into the game. And the hobby piece is another big of it, but it turns into that whole you have the guys like, I don't know how you get to that miniature gaming, but you talk to them and it's like, okay, but you have all of these historical books, and you have all these prints or models of all these historical vehicles and whatever. And
We
it's like,
just do something with them.
there's no difference.
Yeah.
There's no difference. It's just those of us that play. Yeah, sure. It's Farscape. Like you're looking down the line of
yeah.
where warfare would go. I'm still building those models. The difference is instead of sticking them in a shelf and they collect
You're
dust,
coming to a
I'm
place like this and
actively
using them.
engaged with my that lore, and
mean-
that's what got me on the game.
I mean, that's why some of the World War II games now are cool with the models and stuff because you can.
So
Yeah,
that was
like
actually
bolt
one of the
action,
first thing
stuff
I
like that.
noticed in the store was the World War II stuff that you have in the
Yeah,
shelf.
so I carry a system on the shelf, and we carry quite a bit of it called bolt action.
Yes.
And bolt action is actually it's completely based on World War II, and it's every theater. It's the Pacific theater. It's the European theater. It's every faction that could have been
I
involved.
would
It's-
love to talk have an episode about that.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it because I play the British Eighth
Okay.
in bolt action, which is also known as the Desert Rats. Look at Jim staring at me, going, "Say something wrong, motherfucker! I'm gonna fucking pounce all over you."
It's fat.
Well, you went into smoked meats after 30, and he went into military.
So
history.
I play the British Eighth. Now I play true British Eighth. I don't play any of the. So the British Eighth is the larger portion of it, and then there's a bunch of add-on units. So there are kind of the Australian, New Zealand add-ons that can come into it.
Otherwise known as the Anzacs.
There you go. See, it's going to be there. Now I play British Eighth, so I play the actual Brits,
Yeah.
which was the larger portion of what fought during what is nicknamed as the Gentleman's War, which was Northern Africa between the Germans and the Brits.
Yep.
There are several other things that get added on too, but I actually played the Brits in that, which is a lot of anti-tank and artillery play.
A lot of shorts.
And it's dudes in shorts. It's
Shorts and bread
Dudes and
guns.
shorts.
'cause, well, look, you got to be hard like fucking woodpecker lips to go fight a fucking global war in nothing but wool socks and fucking hoochie man shorts. Like you got to be a bad motherfucker.
The only thing
to
that
go
the
fight
only people that are
war.
harder than that were like the Rhodesian cell scouts run around the jungles in that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all set.
So
Yeah.
you got to be a bad dude, and
I mean,
so,
I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah,
like
'cause I'm-
aggressive malaria mosquito bites on my nuts, I'm all set.
Well,
that-
look,
that-
it's so
that- the
it's so
desert's
hot in the
worse, though, 'cause
goddamn
it's like
Sahara
fucking
that there's no mosquitoes, anyways.
It's just sand and bullshit. It's like sucks, and you're in shorts.
Yep.
Yeah, just imagine getting tagged by a scorpion in your ball bag.
It's too hot for that too. Like
Yeah.
it's just not fucking there.
There's nothing there.
So
They
Well,
may
it's
evac you at that point.
dehydration.
You'd be
was it,
happy to.
Yeah.
was it
That's all you
Churchill that said that the Sahara is the way it is because the sun has decided to scorch all history from that part of the world?
Sounds like a Churchillian.
Yeah.
That, like,
Yeah, it
it's,
sounds
it's
like
like
Churchill
that's
would
how
say.
bad it is.
Sounds
there.
like good old Winston.
And so, but that's another one where it starts turning into you have a passion for a piece of history, and now you can go and kind of experience it via your hobby.
Yeah.
And so the gameplay and all of that allows me to kind of go like, these were some bad dudes, and now I have a scale model of it. And it's like, look,
And there's some
would we all love to own a Roadrunner? Sure.
Well, prime example.
Can
of
you
that,
own a
if-
Roadrunner?
If you bought me all the
but
plastic
you can buy the little plastic model of a
Yeah.
Roadrunner so you can look at
Well,
it.
if you bought me all the plastic pieces to build a 1959 FLH Panhead, how much passion do you think I would put into making
Right.
it look exactly like it?
But
rolled
if
off
I
the
told you,
showroom
hey,
floor?
if you want to experience it, you've got to go buy a 59 Panhead.
I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go to the bank and get a $25,000 fucking loan for cash.
right.
But yeah.
Or you can just build the Mini, and that's what it comes down
Yeah.
to. And so that's what a lot of this hobby and the story
and
is.
then you get Jim who just buys a Hummer
Well,
and does
it
both.
was an evolution.
Yeah, but in my opinion, it's no different, right? So a lot of us got into the lore. Jim's always been into the lore.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
Grotex and Felix was my first books, and then from there, I got into the 40K stuff, and I think I got into 40K when they did the art books for the Horus Heresy before the Horus Heresy came
Right
out.
before it was as fleshed out as it is.
Fleshed
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
They were fucking cool. So they had a lot of the stuff, and then you could see where that stuff made it into that. They were calling things, but I was like, even reading that, I'm like, they're making this up just for the art books. like they hadn't had an idea yet of what this was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so
And the art is beautiful.
But the
Yeah.
reason that it's cool that you brought up like Bolt Action or those other gamings, right, is that like people get into World War II history.
Yeah.
This gives them a chance through the gaming to get closer to it via the fact that they're a fan of it. A lot of us that got into the lore with 40K, and the reason I gave you that book and the reason that we're so into the story is that story derives the why we game. It's not just the competition. I like seeing the story unfold in new ways because I like it. And that's why people get into World War II gaming. No, the game is not going to go exactly how history dictates because otherwise, why play? You know how that battle went.
Yeah.
But you get to experience it in a new way. So whether or not you're dealing with a fictional universe in 38,000 years from now, and that's how it plays out, or a battle that happened 70 years ago.
Yeah.
It's the same
gameplay
idea,
that's why we get into the hobby. Is I really like the story. This lets me get a little taste of what it would be like to kind of be a part of that story. And that's why the gaming is so important, and that's why the books and all that kind of stuff become such a topic for debate for a lot
Well,
of
I feel like
us.
you'd be better at the gaming aspect of it if you knew the lore the way.
Not so much.
Not so much. The guys
actually.
that are really, you're absolutely right. The guys that are really competitive can't tell you the story
Yeah.
Okay.
because
It's all
they're,
about numbers.
they're just worried about the math. Those of us that play a lot of the formats that don't require the math, that we just want the story, I would argue we have a lot more fun with the hobby.
Right.
Okay.
Because it is just about
It's like, well, look, you just killed my whoever, but that guy never died. So it's like, all right,
Who
it's
cares?
you're right. Yeah.
yeah, we're not worried about it's optimized.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
worried about did I have the experience?
Experience, yeah.
Yeah. Did you
And-
enjoy what you were doing?
It's
Yeah,
fun to see
so-
how some of the stuff would have run,
Bolt Action and the stuff we sell here, like I play British 8th. But let's say Jim wanted to play Bolt Action and really got into winter stage Russians for that game. That game allows my British 8th to play his winter Russians. They never would have fought each other.
Yeah.
But it allows it. So it's a way to kind of experience the stories a new way. It's a way to be passionate about something that you love the story of. And that's where the hobby part comes in. It's as close as we can get without being part of it. And so it's neat that you brought up the fact that we have like historicals that we sell here too, because it's the same thing. The way they have written, as large as that story is, the Warhammer universe essentially has a history, and now you get to go bring it to your hobby and be passionate about it. And that's, I think, probably where you'll see some of the healthiest gaming. I'm not a big fan of competitive play.
No, I'm not either.
My store, we host a shit ton of it. Like, we host 4 GTs a year and tournaments monthly and all that kind of stuff. It's for the guys that are about the competitive play. You'll never see me play in it. I don't frown on those guys that do. They love it.
No, but you're more in it for the enjoyment, whereas they're in it
The
to
rule
win.
of cool is
Well,
always what I kind of say. It's
I
like-
Well,
did it-
Jazz and I have this conversation all the time. What's the first rule of riding a motorcycle? You got to fucking look cool.
yeah, right.
But my thing is I have always viewed the hobby as the great equalizer. The people that I've seen around the tables in my bar playing this game or playing any of the games, there's so many walks of life standing
Well, and
there.
I've seen it just from being down here since you've opened the store.
Right, it's so many different people that are sitting around those tables that can find a commonality regardless of what the rest of their life does.
well, and I feel
it's
like
a great
in
equalizer.
the world
and that's
we're
what I
living
like.
in right now, we need more of that.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, there's so much where it's, I want all these tags on me that divide me from, it makes me from you. And then we find this common ground where all of a sudden we can get passionate about the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, prime example.
That's
I
where we
don't
need
know
to be.
shit about what you guys do, but you got 4 of us sitting here from 4 different walks of life, and we just spent an hour and 10 minutes,
Yeah.
having a wonderful conversation about it.
Yeah.
Which I think is what the producer's trying to tell us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So, that being said, our producer is telling us that we've wasted enough of your time, is where we're at. So, TJ, thanks for hanging out with
Yeah,
us.
thank
Thanks
you.
for hearing what we had to say.
Hopefully, we answered your one question.
Yeah.
And look, dude,
I'm gonna level with you. I'm way more confused than when I said that.
I know we got to wrap this up, and I'm sorry. I just hope that you walk away with this understanding that Lehman Russ was fucking right.
Ah,
God damn it.
he got it. He got it in.
I got it in!
He got it in.
All right, games, drinks, and hijinks is what we're all about here. So go out there, roll some dice, and find
Blah,
somebody
blah,
to
blah,
share your
blah,
fucking
blah.
passion with. Other than that, go check out Second Pitch Beer Company.
Please,
do.
I need money.
BattlePub on all the social medias, battlepub.com.
Make
We
sure,
have some
yeah,
huge
give him
events that are
money so
coming
he
up soon.
ensures that he kills whatever bacteria that is, so he doesn't make any
Yeah,
more
right.
of that beer.
Is that what the goal is?
Yeah, I just want to make sure you go back to making your good stuff.
TJ, what do you got going on?
Yeah, what are you doing?
TikTok is Bearded Kiwi. Instagram is Bearded Kiwi 91. It's just me being this
There you go.
for the rest of the internet to see.
Just exposing yourself on the internet.
Oh yeah, just terrible fucking life choices and
for
degenerate
you.
jokes.
Rock on.
Good for
Other
you.
than that, go out there, kick ass, take names, and find somebody that you can be geeky with.
Yeah.
And we'll see you kids next week.
There you go.
Next week, hopefully you guys have read the goddamn books.
Yeah. Fair warning. Next week we're talking about the End of the Death book 1. Whether you've read it or not, you're just gonna fucking get hammered with it. So
Yeah, it's really good.
it's gonna happen. So, anyways, all right, kids, carry on.
Thank you.
Boy.